Hey, James,
Hey, Mike.
you've been busy.
Oh my gosh, Mike, we have been so busy.
These have been some incredible releases, and nobody really knows about them yet. Like explained, actually, I lie. We did a customer appreciation tour through Dallas and Houston, and we
How did
did
you
show
always forget about our customers in Dallas, Mike? They were so much fun.
it was incredible, and they loved it. They provided incredible feedback. They gave us great ideas. Yeah, you were literally coding inside of a Chick-fil-A as they're giving us feedback and actually implementing what they're asking you to implement, which was amazing.
It was
They've
kind of
never
funny.
had,
They didn't realize I was writing code. They're like, "Hey, James, you made that change, but we're not seeing." It's like, "Oh yeah, it's because we're still gonna like test our releases before we give it to everybody else." But yeah,
that was super fun and great to watch. I super excited about these releases. And one of the first ones that you can showcase on the iPad is really the improvements on the scrolling and the drag and dropping. That I know that took forever, and that was a great release, and it was a very difficult problem to solve. But I would love for you to share and show it.
yeah, Mike, you're right. It was a big release, and we're still getting some feedback, but it's one that's been coming for a long time. We know that the dragging, like the experience of dragging shifts across is really important. And so we've been working on it. I have the iPad here pulled up, and what's really cool now is that now it's really easy to scroll. So if you want to scroll through the roster and just look through the different people, you can just do that. There's no more dragging the little white space that we had on the corner. You don't have to look for that anymore. You can literally just scroll. And out on the position board, you can just scroll too. Just scroll and get where you want to be. And what that means is that when you want to drag somebody, you're going to drag somebody left and right. So you're going to pull somebody left and right to drag them, and you're going to scroll up and down. So we scroll up and down, and then we're going to drag left and right to drop. Drag and drop. Drag and drop. And so we feel like this is going to be a really intuitive experience. If you go up and down, it's going to drag. And if you go left and right, it's going to drag them.
And then the way to remove them from those locations is you actually just pull them out into the white space. Is that correct?
Yeah. So again, we'll just start by going left and right
Yeah.
to drag them. And we can just drop them on any empty space. There are some people, it's kind of funny, I'll watch some people drag them all the way back over here to the roster. And that's
Right.
cool, like that's valid, but you actually can just drag them on any empty spot over off to the side, and they'll be removed from the position.
Excellent. That's excellent work. I know that took a lot of time, but it acts beautifully, and I know a lot of customers are happy with that. The next one was a major release of the layout editor, and
Yeah,
this allows any leaders to actually change their layouts on their own. They no longer have to submit a ticket to have our support staff actually create these for them or edit them or add positions or anything like that.
that's correct. Now, I do want to point out here that technically speaking, the layout editor is still in beta. And so we're working on it and we're still improving it. But it is at a place where it's efficient to use, make your own adjustments, add in your own dispatch position, your own mobile cache position, whatever, and make your own adjustments, and you can use it for those kinds of things.
That's great. We can we jump back into your computer and share your screen, and that way we can.
Yeah.
Um,
You want me to show the layout editor?
yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
this is cool. I love the layout editor. Now, we've actually been using, like right now, when you send us an email, we end up using these tools to make the changes. So now we're making these tools available to you. We're going to access the layout editor by clicking this black layout editor button at the top of the roster. Now, it's important to note that this is only available for managers and directors in the store. So it's permission based. We know that there are permissions in OneClick, and only the managers and directors have access to this button. And of course, we can customize that. So if you want your store to work differently than everybody else, we can change the rules for you. We're going to click on the layout editor, and it's going to bring us into a special mode. It's going to take off all the shifts, and it's going to give us several tools. And from here, it's going to be pretty simple to just say, you know what, I think I want a fourth register. We're getting busy. So I can go over here and I can tap on register 3. And on the right, there are several properties, lots of things that we can adjust and customize. little tool tips to explain what they are if you want to go ahead and read through those. But the button I'm looking for right here is this duplicate button. So I'm just going to hit duplicate, and it's going to automatically duplicate it and change it to 4. So now I have a 4th register position.
That's great. And one of the things that I noticed was the invisible box. And I know that's the invisible box is actually used so that you can actually design your layout and make it look the way that you want to use it. Would you mind demoing that real quick?
Yeah, so let me just demonstrate on some of these. We were playing around and testing some things in this development store. That's why we have 30, what is this? A lot of IPOS boxes. But what you can do is you can turn some of these invisible. And when they turn invisible, they're going to go away. And you can use that so that, like on your screen, you might like make a shape and say, you know what, we want all of our IPOSs here, and then we just want some empty space. And we want these ones off to the right. And you might turn these ones invisible. And in our layout editor, we're going to see the dotted outlines. But what I'll do is I'll go ahead and save this. So I'm gonna go ahead and save the layout. It'll give me a little confirmation message. And then it's going to go ahead and upgrade all my old layouts to this new version. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this so we can see what it looks like. So I'm gonna click enter. If it's gonna lose some information in the change, it will warn you about that. Now we can see it saved. And so we've got these empty spaces. So if I want to use empty space on my layout, the invisible box is a great way to do that.
And let's say, for example, IPOS 8. If I want to make that taller.
Taller. Oh,
yes.
I love making things tall, Mike. You read my mind. Let's go back into our layout editor.
So it takes like two spots.
Yep. And so I'm going to take this one. You said taller, right?
Yep.
Okay, so there's this box over here called height, and right now it's set to 1, and I'm just going to make it 2. And we'll notice that it's automatically taller. It pushes the other things off to the side, and I go ahead and save this again, and click OK, and boom, now it's taller.
Excellent. How do you change the titles? And you're using emojis, which I think is awesome, and it helps team members to figure out, okay, that's all I have to do is look at the emoji, and I know exactly what's going on. Where do you edit that?
Yeah, so if you want to edit the title, there's a field up here called title. Right now it says IPOS 8, but I can go in here and I can type, maybe I want to call it outside order taker, right? Outside OT. And if I want to add an emoji, on my laptop I have a little emoji keyboard that I can pop up, and I'll do that. And let's choose a sun emoji. We'll go with a sun emoji because it's hot outside. And so we can just go ahead and add a sun emoji, or like on a register, if we want to go ahead and add a money emoji, right? We could put a money emoji on there, or if we want a shift leader, we can add a crown emoji. If you like that kind of thing, you can have a lot of fun with the emojis and layouts. It's all at your fingertips right there.
And where it says, like the titles where it says outside team, front counter team, can you change those?
Yeah, I can. So again, I'm just going to click on it. So this is called a section, is what it's called. I'm going to click on the section, and then there's another field to change the title. Maybe I don't want to call it front counter team. Maybe I want to abbreviate it and say FC team. Or maybe I want to call it on the dining room team or the guest experience team.
Excellent.
And in case you're wondering, Mike, you can also move this. So if you say, you know what, actually, I want to just move this section below the other ones, I'm just going to click this button to move it down, and we can reorder which position these come in. So now my guest experience team is all the way down at the bottom.
Excellent. That's excellent to hear. I know that this has saved our support team a ton of time, and also operators, managers, team members a lot of time, because now they can do it all on their own. They don't have to email customer support to actually get those done. So that's fantastic. The next one.
Mike, real quick, could I add one more thing?
Yes.
I was just going to say, what people really love about these new layout editing tools is that it lets you play with your setups. And so right in here, we can go and we can play around, and the shift leaders will like add positions, and maybe they'll never click the save button. So they'll just kind of play around and see, hey, what can I do? How else might I run my store? What if I have a pusher position? What if I don't have a pusher position, right? And they can totally play around with it and just see it right in front of them. And so it's a great way to kind of experiment and see, hey, do I want to try this for a week? Do I want to try it for a day? Maybe you end up keeping it, right? And it's just your option to change as often as you want.
Right. And you never know what the right formula is or what works for the team until you start playing around with it. And now that they can do it on the fly, that's pretty incredible.
Certainly, yeah.
I love it. The next one is auto schedule, which gets me super excited because this is the epitome of what OneClick is and where OneClick is actually going. That with a single click, you can now do magical stuff. And eventually in the future, it'll even get better. But go ahead and show us that.
So the auto schedule, if you're using the training module and if you have training data in your system, it doesn't take a lot of training data, just a little bit. What we can do is we can actually auto schedule and let the algorithm take care of like the bulk of this scheduling for you. So we know that dragging and dropping is pretty easy, right? And we're improving that and making it as good as we can. But if you just want to say, you know what, I forgot to do it ahead of time, or I just don't have the brain power to think this through, what does the algorithm say? We have the option to do that. So all the way down at the bottom of the roster, down on the right, there's this new button called Auto Schedule available with the training module. And once it's clicked, once it's with the training module and once it's set up, when you click it in just one, it's going to do most of the work for us. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Bam. Oh, I missed it. Aha, I didn't actually click the button. So when I click the auto schedule button, it's going to take all the employees on the shift and it's going to look at what are they good at, and it's going to look at all the positions, and it's going to say which positions do I actually need, and which positions are hard, and which ones can be done by lots of people. And it's going to match up the people to the positions based on what they're qualified to do.
Yeah, this is incredible. This is, like I said, the epitome of what OneClick is, what the dream has always been, that with a single click, you can actually have everybody in the positions where the logic is actually giving you really, really good suggestions. You really have to look over it and just do final touches, final edits. And it's really important to know, just like you said, that you actually do need the training module in order for this to work. We need that logic in order to pull from the training, say, who has the best ratings in front of house, cashier, or sauce runner, things like that. And so that the system can actually make those informed decisions. What kind of logic besides rating each team member in places, what other kind of logic is included in this?
So in this early version, it's only looking at the ratings, and so it's going to people in the positions just based on the training data. Development has already started, and it's underway on looking at a lot more. Specifically, where has the employee been in the past? So earlier today, were they on front counter? And if they were, then let's not put them on front counter again. Yesterday, were they outside, and were they outside the day before? Well, if they've been outside all week, then let's give them an inside position. Or maybe they just recently started learning how to do drinks, right? And so we're going to notice that they're good at rating, that they recently started learning drinks. And we're going to suggest, hey, let's put them in register, not during the busy time, but during the slow time. And add in extra logic of what are they learning? Where have they been in the past? In the future, maybe the employee says, hey, I would like to practice this position, or the trainers can say, hey, we want to designate this person to be practicing in this position, and it will be accounting for all of that as it's filling in the logic. I guess there's one more thing, Mike. The other thing is it will take into consideration which positions need to be filled and how important it is that each position is filled. And so the operators, right, that work with us and we get it set up for them, we say, hey, these are my positions, and if I don't have enough employees to get all of these positions, then at least I need these core ones. And then it will automatically, like based on however many employees are on the shift, it will take that into consideration and fill in the positions that you need.
See, I wish that I could describe to every Chick-fil-A leader, team member, operator, how monumental this is, how the logic that has the logic of the algorithms that you have just launched is a culmination and a combination of years, not only of years of you working inside of Chick-fil-A, but also of years of logic and emails, customers' emails, operators, managers, team members, giving us feedback and telling us what works, what doesn't work, and all that. All of that knowledge was actually built into these algorithms, and it's going to get better over time, better than a single click. And that is phenomenal. So training is required for anybody who wants to use that. Now, that leads us to the next one, major release as well, which is improvement on the ratings, and would love to see that.
So improvement on the ratings. Let me show you this. We did two major things. We made the rating accessible now right from the app right here. So you don't have to go into an employee profile and dig through the menus anymore. Now what we can do is we can, on a computer, I can right click, or on an iPad, you can press and hold, and it's going to bring up this new employee profile, or this improved employee preview modal. This is now accessible. Anybody can access this. And what it includes are the training scores, right? So previously this information wasn't here, but now it's right at your fingertips. All you have to do is right click, press and hold, and you're going to be able to see this employee preview. And then of course, based on the permissions, if you're a trainer or if you have permissions to write ratings, then you'll be able to do that as well. And we'll be able to click on Shakes, and we'll be able to write a rating for Riker on Shakes right here. And we can go through and give her, she did really well today, and give her 4 stars and click submit. And that's going to update immediately, right? So it's going to update immediately. It's now going to show Shakes and all the things. And that's one super easy way to just do ratings wherever you want. Allison, you want to rate Allison. Asher, you want to rate Allison. Fine, you can do that. And there's actually a special mode too, Mike, where sometimes you look at the screen and there's like a lot of information here, and you just kind of want this system to say, hey, just do this one. Like if you want a little prompt, where should I get started? Like where should I even start with the ratings? Well, that's what this one is. These are called rating prompts, and they're available at the top of the screen. And when you open it up, the system will go through and it analyzes the employees on the shift, and it analyzes the data that it already has. And then based on that says, hey, I have some data, but I don't have this data. So why don't you tell me how good Ethan is at mobile bagger? Or I have some data, but Katie was last rated 3 years ago. That's a really long time ago. Why don't you give me some new data and say, is she still really good, right? Has she gotten better? And in this case, I might say, yeah, actually, she has gotten better. It's been 5 years or 3 years, but we're going to go and give her 5s now because she actually is a rock star, and she's a rock star. And we trust her to work the rushes. Just go ahead and submit that right there. So this is a major new way to do ratings. This is going to be the easiest way to write ratings anywhere. Nothing is going to be simpler than this. It can't get simpler than this from here, Mike.
Just going down the list, which is
just
awesome.
Go down the list. Yeah, it's literally right there.
Which leads me to, I mean, I wish people would understand how critical it is that to actually use the training module, how important it is to be able to make good, wise decisions as to who you're going to put where. And now you have the single one-click option for the system to actually help you with that and save you tons of time. If you can save your leaders, a few hours a week from having to manage the schedules, and they can actually spend that time in giving better customer service, getting more people through the drive-through, doing everything other than trying to mess with trying to put people in the right place, then that's a huge win, right?
Yeah. Or Mike, another thing to hear is that this is like, if I'm just trying to imagine myself, if I were a training manager, how hard would it be for me to teach somebody else how to do this, right? Click the rating prompts, click the rating, do the rating. With some of our stores, they're experiencing turnover in their trainers, they're experiencing turnover of their employees. And that positions OneClick in a pretty good place to be like, hey, if people are changing, leaders are changing, but at least we have something that's holding constant, and it's so simple and so easy. Like I just have to give it to them, and most people will be able to figure this out on their own.
Before we move on, could you go to the training interface And I want to, if we can show them what the grayed out stars are,
Yeah.
and why they're important.
Why they're important. So yeah. So here on the training, and this is called the training dashboard, and not everybody has access to view this. This is reserved for trainers or leaders. We can adjust who exactly has access to this. But what I want to point out here is that there's a mechanism built into OneClick that makes ratings count for more than, it takes a little bit of data and it makes it count for more. And so when it's set up and when it's organized properly, we'll see here that when we rated Riker on shakes, we gave him a rating on shakes and we said that he's a 4. And OneClick is going to assume that he's good at the other positions as well. And what that does is that saves us, me human, right, from having to go into every single one of these little boxes and giving Riker a rating on every single position. And that is so valuable, right? If we're talking systems, if we're talking how do I just get up and going as fast as I can, or what's the smallest thing I can do to make a difference? Well, this mechanism of assuming ratings has been designed, and it leverages the way that the training works, so that with just one, I can say he's learned shakes and also he learned window too, or and we assume he knows window. And if he knows how to do shakes, then he also knows how to do IPOS. And in fact, in this case, another trainer gave him a rating on IPOS. But they didn't give him a rating on front counter, and that's okay. They're just saving time, right? That's time they probably spent smiling at guests and refreshing their beverages, right? Help them come back another time.
That's excellent. Just so as long as everybody's aware that the grayed out ones are assumptions, but they're great assumptions based on their performance in other areas. So they can make better informed decisions to be able to put these people in the right places. I think that's fantastic.
And again, because it's an assumption, if you go ahead and if you want to spend the time and put in extra data and override it with something else, you can do that. It's just an assumption. And when you tell it something, it goes with that instead.
That's incredible. That's incredible. The next one, another major release. You've been busy. You've been super busy.
So busy.
And this one's absolutely free for any Chick-fil-A store that wants it.
Right.
They don't have to pay anything. Free for life. So this is the checklist feature, something that you've been working on for a long time. And at the beginning, we thought, checklist feature. We could have that done in a week, right? But then as we started looking into it and getting the feedback and in beta and all that stuff, there is so much to this and so much code has got into this. And there's so much in future plans for this that is just going to make this incredible. And so many operators, managers, leaders have actually given us incredible feedback as to other lists that they use that they pay $50 a month for, that now they're going to get for free, that while we were there visiting them in their store, they were giving us that feedback. You were coding it and you were making it better than what they were paying $50 a month for. Right? And now they're going to get this for free for any Chick-fil-A in the entire country. And I would love to see what you've launched. Let's take a look at it.
All right, let's take a look at it. So what we're looking at here is we're looking at viewing our checklists with our position. So if you ever want to be like, hey, I love OneClick. OneClick is in my employee's face all day, right? They're looking at it for their positions. Can I just get their checklist right there too? Well, the answer is yes. So right here, again, right at the top of the position board, there's this button called Open Lists. And it's going to open up the list. And look, it's going to be right on the side. And what's really cool is we can see all of our upcoming lists. So we've got to close our bagging station, we close our dining room, close our ice stream. These are examples. We can open them up and we can actually assign employees to these checklists like in advance. Right? So maybe let's look at our 5 o'clock and let's say close our bagging station. I did not do my setup ahead of time. Guys, I did not do my homework, but that's okay. That's what I've got auto schedule for.
There you go.
Yep. So what I can do is if I want to say, hey, let's just grab Logan, and Logan's going to be in charge of closing the bagging station tonight. Oh, wait, nope. We could do that, but Logan's actually off at 9, so we're not going to do that. Victoria is off at 10:30. So we're going to grab Victoria, and Victoria will be in charge of closing the bagging station.
What is that? What does that the yellow number 1 mean?
So that yellow 1 means that Victoria is assigned to a checklist. So that's yellow. It means that she has checklist assignments that she hasn't finished. This will be really helpful for when it comes around to 10:30, right? It's now closing time and you're looking over your position board, and we're gonna be able to see, hey, let's put Nolani on dining room. We'll be able to put Nolani on dining room. Say she finishes all her checklists, right? So she does this, she finishes all of them. Hers is gonna turn green when she's all done. Green light, Nolani. It's 10 o'clock. You're ready to go. Great. You get out of here. You finish your closing checklist. You're done. You're good to go. But we'll look at Victoria and we'll say, hey, Victoria, I know you want to go, but it looks like you still have some things to finish. So let's just look at our checklist right here and let's just cross off the last ones and make sure it's all done. And then you're good to go.
And who has the ability to review these checklists? To click that button that says review.
Yeah, review. So the checklists have permissions built in again, right? That's something you cannot do with a spreadsheet. You cannot do that with a whiteboard, but with OneClick, you can.
You can
so
do it with paper. You could probably do it with pen and paper with a lot of eraser, right?
Well, but I guess the pen and paper equivalent, you'd have somebody like sign their name. So I guess that's kind of permission, but anybody can just go up to the whiteboard, to the paper, and just cross things off.
Right.
But with OneClick, we can set up, it's really customizable, but by default, employees, the service account iPad will be able to handle the checklist. So if you have your service account iPad that's common in the store, your employees are going to be able to use that and mark off their checklists and be assigned to it. We had some people that were like, hey, we want our shift leaders to be able to assign the checklist and do everything. And we want our team leaders to be able to assign the checklist, but not to be able to assign the shifts. Or they can run do the checklist, but not do the breaks, right? And so if you want to, we can be really fine-grained and like draw lines of permissions between the different roles in your store. By default, it's going to require a team leader or a shift leader to come through here and click the review button and say, yep, we did go over this. They actually did do it. And we're going to mark it as reviewed and put it down into the bottom.
That's excellent. And when they log in for the first time, they also get some checklist templates to start off with, right? To give them ideas.
Yeah, that's another thing. So this layout editor, right, we're just barely releasing right now. But what's special about the checklist is that this first version, like beta checklists, is coming with their own checklist manager as well. So let's go in and let's look at that. When we have access to this checklist manager, right here, again, it's available only to managers and directors, but they're going to be able to look through here and manage lots of different checklists. If you want a bagging station, 2 versions of the dining room checklist, several deep cleaning checklists, an ice cream checklist, and then several others that are inactive. The checklist manager is able to manage and store all of that, including these templates. So we provide several starters, and these are just ideas. And you can start with any of these and then totally change it, or change just a couple things, or change everything. And you have the ability to change all of that without, we're not even going to try to manage that for you. You have the power to adjust all of these settings all on your own.
I hope that everybody listening understands how much time and effort and feedback that every single line of code that has been written is 100% customized, specific to run the best Chick-fil-A store out there. With all the feedback, operators and managers and leaders, they love us, and team members, and they're sending us screenshots all the time and videos, and they're saying, hey, our store could run better if you did this. Your checklist 10 times better. We will use your checklist if you do exactly this. And you did it. And there's so much that went into this, and every single one of these releases is huge. It's major. It's game-changing. And this has been incredible. And not only that, it's been incredible to see the operators that we talked to in Texas and actually see their eyes light up when you were showing them and you put them on beta for these features. They were just ecstatic, loved it. They've been using it. We see them using it. They're using it every day, and it's just awesome to see.
Yeah, Mike, can I share an example of one of those features that was shared to us by an operator?
Absolutely.
So this operator's name is Chan, And he was like, hey, I love these checklists. I love that I can get them right next to my position boards. But what about those checklists that I need to do like only sometimes? And I said, whoa, tell me some more about that. And so we went through the whole process, and he's like, but for example, I only like close my ice stream only Wednesday and Saturday. And maybe for some stores that's heresy. Maybe you close your ice stream machine. We call it Taylor at my store every day, but maybe you only do it twice a week. And so these repeat rules came because of the suggestion from Chan. And so we have the ability to do a checklist every day, or say, you know what, we're going to do it every week, but only on Wednesday and Saturday, or maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday, or maybe every day except for Friday, right? Whatever you want, you can do that. And maybe that's not good enough for you. Maybe you say, I don't do this checklist every week. Maybe I have some deep cleaning checklists that I only do once a month. Or maybe I want to put my inventory checklist in OneClick. Well, you can do that. And we can switch to these repeating and do it every month, or every 2 months, or every 3 months, right? And say, hey, we're going to do it twice a month, only on the first week of the month. Or maybe we're only going to do it on the first work day of the month, or the last work day of the month by checking this box.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was all at the suggestion of Chan.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? When we first started down this road, we were just thinking, oh, a checklist, right? But there's so much more to it. And then even though the checklist is for free and anybody can use it for free, once you start using it with training, with the layouts, and seeing how the entire ecosystem works together with your breaks and people going on breaks, and something that was really eye-opening and really incredible that we experienced firsthand in Houston is that in Houston, when we were there, it was really hot outside. And the rotating buddies feature was a lifeline. They loved it, right? And there's one store that we went to where everybody actually kept their vests on. Their what do you call those? They have the
the yellow reflective vests.
Everybody kept them on who was on the inside and on the outside, so they could swap, because it was so hot outside. They were probably swapping every 10 minutes. And the rotating buddies feature was incredible. And they just used that to the max. It is so much fun to see just how this helps so many stores progress, and to help them communicate with their team members, with their leaders. There's greater communication, there's better reporting, there's less chaos, and they can concentrate on what they do best, which is the best customer service in the restaurant industry, right?
That's right.
What do you think? How do you feel going from having the stream, starting it, had your first customer for 3 years, and you like put your heart and soul into it, and this is your baby, and your baby's now become a teenager.
It's a teenager.
How does it feel to you? And then it's going to become an adult really, really soon. But how does it feel? Like what, like from the feedback that you get from other operators and team members when they tell you how much it's helped them, what thoughts go through your mind?
I'm going to be totally honest. I feel just really blessed that I've had the opportunity to work on it. Like, I love it, and I have a lot of fun, and I love that I can make a difference. But I honestly give a lot of credit to the good Lord up in heaven, who's given me, and like in many instances, opened my mind and given me inspiration to help me like solve certain problems. And then to be able to visit the people that use it, and to recognize like, wow, you're using something that I created to do something even awesomer. That's like cool. And when people are like, hey, I gotta go handle the rush. I'm like, you go, like you get out of there. That lunch rush, working with actual people on the ground, very, very important, very noble, right? And I'm glad that I can do a portion of that to help handle the boring parts, the technical parts, so that then people get to go focus on the people and the guests and all the things that actually make working at Chick-fil-A so fun and exciting for me. I loved working at Chick-fil-A, right? And I did that every day, and every day was, hey, am I doing better? Can I get my speed of service report? How fast was I taking orders today? and just with the guests. And then sometimes the guests recognize you, like, hey, I know you. I took your order like last week or something, or like yesterday. But
Well,
I love it.
I was talking to your dad earlier today, and I was saying how you are a product of Chick-fil-A. And that was very apparent when we heard the CEO of Chick-fil-A talk. And what Chick-fil-A instilled in you as a person, what they taught you to actually become better than yourself and be selfless and think of others. And that you've actually taken that to the extreme to where your goal is actually to help all the Chick-fil-A's in the nation and anywhere else they go around the world and actually make them better. You are a product of Chick-fil-A, which is absolutely incredible. And not only is it a labor of love, but it also helps them. It helps them to save money and lower all this chaos that this can help them, get rid of. Thank you for sharing your feelings. That I think that that's super important, and it's okay to be vulnerable and tell people exactly how we feel about this because we are super passionate about it. Thanks, James. This has been incredible. Is there anything else you want to add?
I think that's going to have to do it for today. We obviously there are plenty of other things, but those are the major releases that have come out pretty recently. You can read the rest of the release notes if you want more details by clicking on this button down at the bottom of the roster. Down at the very bottom, there's this version number. You can click on this one. It's going to open up a new tab that brings you to the release notes. So if you want to reread, review what we talked about, maybe send us an email and ask for a video chat or whatever and more clarification, we'd love to do that for you. But the rest of the release notes are all available in this document for you.
Great. Thank you, James. You're a rock star. And can't wait for our Monday meeting.
See you, Mike.
All right,
Bye.
take care.